Hey friends, hope you're doing well. Have you ever had the issue that the client wanted too many slicers in your report? Well, I had this issue and I found a solution with a custom visual which I'd like to present to you here. So at first, let me show you one problem which could arise. So let's say I have my report built, and in this case we keep it simple. I just choose, in this case, my customer, let's say customer company in here, and then I have some certain KPI. So if I go up here, I have, for instance, here my total sales measure. So I go to total sales here, put this inside, and I have here some values displayed. Okay, that's my table, but it could be a bar chart, could be anything. So far, so good. Now, in this case, the question was, okay, now I want to filter this data, right? So, of course, the client wants to see maybe a certain, in this case, customers which he or she is interested in, or filter by the region of the customer, or by a zip code, or whatever. So, of course, I could do the following now. I could go in here and say, I want to use a slicer in here from the default one, either this one, or I could also use the new slicer, which also allows to display images, for instance. But for now, let's choose the default one, tick this option, and then say, for instance, okay, I have here the customer company, so let's drag the customer company inside, right? So customer, where is it? In this case, make this smaller here, the customer company again here, drag this inside, drag and drop, and then I have here my slicer. Of course, I can choose to create a drop down in here and all these things, so I can customize it the way I want. Now, the one thing with the default slicer which is not activated at the beginning, which I think should be, is actually the search option. So if you click on the three dots here, you can go there and click on search. And then, of course, you also have the search bar here, because sometimes, especially if you have a lot here, like me, there are a lot of customers which I have to choose from. It's easier to just search for it. So if I search for liquor, for instance, then I can see exactly the customers which have this lick in their name. So quite easy, I think, to select. And then, of course, I can select one. You can see it filters. If I hold my control key, select another one, it filters this as well. And, of course, I can also clear the selection and I see all again. So that works fine. But what if you have to create not only one slicer, but several of them, right? So, because now the question could be, okay, but I also want to filter by the region, or give me an option to filter by the different kinds of countries available, or by the zip codes, or by anything else, right? It could be a lot of different slicers, which should be placed on the page. And this is not good practice, because you do not want to have too many slicers on one report page. That also slows down the report, so it's not really good practice. And of course, you can also use the visuals, which is always a good practice to say, well, you do not need all these slicers, just use the visuals and click on a bar chart, for instance, and then filter the other visuals, right? We can set the interactions between the visuals. That works fine too. But as far as I know, and from my personal experience, there are simply clients who want to have slicers. So they need to have slicers. This is what they're used to have, and that's why they want to have that. Okay. What can you do? How can you reduce the amount of slicers on your page? And there I found a custom visual which might be helpful. Normally, I would always recommend stick to the default visuals in Power BI which are available, because they are optimized, they are created by Microsoft, and that's why we should use them. But sometimes you could also take a look at the, in this case, app source, so at the custom visuals, and there might be something which might be helpful. So I'm not completely against it, and in this case, I really favor the one I'm going to show you, but I just want to mention, be careful and don't overdo it with the custom visuals, okay? So for that, I went to the app source, so click on the three dots, get to more visuals, and then get more visuals here. And you see that already pinned it actually. This is the one I want to show you, text search slicer. Because click on the three dots, go to get more visuals, and then this one appears. Of course, you need to be signed in to Power BI to see this, but then you can search for them. And you can see there it is already. Otherwise, click on search and search for text search slicer and you find it. You can also see that it has this blue badge, which is, at least from my experience, very important to specific companies, because this means that it's certified by Microsoft. Even though it's from a third-party vendor, it's certified by Microsoft, which often is helpful because that means that normally it's not a harmful software, for instance. And most often it's also then usable in companies, in a company environment. So that's good. And also the same is true if you click on it, you get, of course, also a preview, and you can download a sample which includes the visual. And most important for this visual, of course, is this one here, the pricing. The pricing is free, so you don't have to pay anything. You can use it out of the box, and there are no licensing fees attached to that. You can, as I said, download the sample, or you click on add. And if you click on add, then it gets downloaded and then attached to your report. I already did this, so I clicked on add. And let me close this now. And then if you do this, then it should appear here under your specific icons in here. So this is it, and you can also right click here and you can pin it to visualization pane in here, then it will also be part here. Click on this one and then you see that it will be added up here. So what is now the difference between the default slicer and this new one? Well, let me show it to you. If you click on the text search slicer like this, now it's available in here, and you see that you can add fields. So let's do that. Let's click on go with customer, in this case company, and drag this inside, drag and drop. And you see that now this field is added and I can search it, right? I can make this smaller here, I can go in there and can search, for instance, for I think footer. If I press this here, you can see that I see Alfred's footer kiste in here. So this is easy to work with. So far, so good. But this is only a search box, right? It's not better than this one up here. This is true. So what can we do? Well, let's drag additional fields inside. Let's say I would use to customer company, also drag this in the field list, like this one. And then also drag, for instance, let's say here the product name, search for product name, drag this one inside, and other ones, drag the region inside, and so on. And you can clearly see that now you have the option to first select what you want to search for, right? Here, here, and here. And then search for specific items. So for instance, for the region, I search for Europe, press enter, and I see all the data for Europe. Or if I go back to the customer country, go in here, and let me first remove this, of course. So, and then I say here I want to search for Germany, and I see the data for Germany. So this is quite neat, at least from my point of view, because I can add as many fields I want in here, and then I can give the customer the option to just click on what kind of field, let me just remove this first, what kind of field he or she wants to look at, and then enter the data. And this is also really nice because then you don't have to use several slices. And of course, I also know that with the default slicer, you could create hierarchies. So, right, you could say, for instance, I first add the, let's say here for the, where is it, the region, drag this on top, like this one. Then you have the hierarchy here, see America, you can go in here and see American customers. You can do that, but from my experience, not all the customers want this hierarchy. And also, you cannot add too many hierarchies. Otherwise, it looks completely cluttered, right? And that's not really good user experience. So with this slicer here, it's, I think, way better because you just choose what actually is the field you want to search for, and then just type in the text and you can search for it. So that's it for this video. Hopefully that is helpful to you. As I said, maybe you have this use case, then give this a go. Also, maybe you find something else in the custom visuals shop you want to use, then do it. As I said, just be careful that you don't overdo it. Otherwise, it might harm your report performance. But with this one here, I think that's really a nice add-on and it's for free. So give it a try. Thanks for watching and hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, thanks guys.